Jesus, you brought heaven down. My sin was great, your love was greater. What could separate us now? What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a wonderful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. How sweet is your name, how good you are. We love to sing your name, Lord. Love to sing of who you are. Death could not hold you. The veil tore before you. You silenced the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring, the praise of your glory. For you are raised to life again. You have no
Remember to be loud for Facebook. Oops.
Hey.
I've been seen.
Alright, so this is the first time that we see Elgin. Anyways.
This is who we've been talking to for the last God knows how long.
Yeah.
Hi everyone.
We hope you're having a wonderful beginning of the week. And we're here to start our second day of the week with the Word of God. And to present myself, my name is Gabriel. And the person in front of me is going to present herself.
Hey, what's up? Hey man, hey guys, how you doing? I forgot there's another camera right in front of me. Hey, what's up? My name is Erica. Welcome back to Truth Seekers. I know that today we've been seeing a lot of politics running around the internet, but right now we're gonna try to. Well, we're not gonna try. We're gonna give you guys a break from all that, because I know it's been hectic seeing go vote everywhere. So yeah, we're gonna take a break from that and over here that you can now finally see, which I'm probably gonna keep stressing. Way over yonder.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. You are blessed. We hope you are having an exceptional week. We love you. We really want to be we want to be people of interest in your life. We want to be the ones blessing you. We want to be the ones not necessarily sharing our knowledge, but we are sharing our findings so that we are able to talk and learn even more about the different things and topics that we decide to talk about.
Yeah.
Be blessed by this programming, and if you find us later in life because you were looking for something in YouTube or Facebook, please be blessed. Guys, take it away.
Yay!
Yeah, you can approach us. Okay.
Sorry, it's just all my verses are highlighted on the other account, on my account, on YouVersion, and that's on my phone. So I'm racing.
All right, so this is we're gonna be walking with Joseph, which is the title, and it's gonna be awesome. Because we're going to talk about a lot of things, and God knows what we're going to talk about, literally. So, I would like to start off with...
The very beginning of Joseph.
The what?
The very beginning of Joseph.
Yeah, sure. In the beginning.
Who was Joseph's mother?
Her name was Rachel, my dude.
Are you sure it was Rachel? Wasn't it Ruth?
I am 72% sure.
It wasn't Naomi?
Mom, we're 19,
I thought
Mom.
it was Mr. Jesus.
Mom, we're 19.
Okay, so it was Rachel, right?
It was Rachel,
So,
as it would be said in German.
as the reading begins in just the verse 2. Can you read just verse 2?
Of chapter 34?
7. The one you said.
37?
Which was the one you said?
What?
I didn't say that one, but we'll start with that one.
Heck!
So,
we got a little bit of a conspiracy theory going on in here.
we are, look, so this was the plan all along, right? We all had to read a little bit of, a lot about Joseph for this entire week, and then today we were all supposed to bring our findings. But I'm scared that we're gonna start with his dreams or with his day.
Oh, see.
When we have his birth to talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about more of that.
Actually, I actually want to go before the birth of Joseph.
All right, so let's hear it from Gabriel.
Okay.
Before the birth of Joseph.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, Joseph. I was very curious about him being a slave. I was very interesting. And well, I was in the car. I was driving, and I was texting and calling. No, I'm playing. Don't do that. I was just talking. I was just talking to God, and I was like, God, how would it have been if Joseph hadn't been a slave, how would it have been his process, in him being getting to be the king. I'm not giving any spoilers. I'm just saying that that's what it's gonna lead up to. You can take it as a spoiler, whatever. Anyways,
spoiler.
anyways, so I decided to go back
Because it
and
hasn't been in the Bible like forever.
We're just gonna put a massive, we're gonna change the title of both of the live streams. Just put spoiler alert.
so the father of Joseph is Jacob, and the father of Jacob is Isaac, and the father of Isaac is Abraham. So I was like, okay, how did this go about? Because
Squad goals.
Jacob was prosperous and rich. Isaac was also prosperous and rich. And Abraham was also prosperous and rich. And the reason he was because God made him a promise and he kept it. And, he held on to it. And God blessed his descendants because of him guarding the Lord's commandments and being a man of faith, getting to be named the father of faith. And so that was what I wanted to share. That was my findings, because I found out that what the parent marks today in their life, well, as long as they live, they get to pass it on to their children. And this is something that has been talked about by pastors and other people, but I really never got to understand it until this story, until it was about Joseph, because I was like, wow, it really does matter what the parents do. I really didn't think of it like that, because I was like, oh, whatever, it's the fathers, whatever they want, and the kids, they're separate. But no, it's not like that. And I want to back it up with a verse, which it's around here. In Genesis 26 verse 14. Genesis 26 verse 14. And the reason I'm using two Bibles is not because I think I'm very holy. It's actually because I did not have an English Bible at home, so I had to read it in Spanish. For he had possession of flocks and possession of herds and great store of servants, and the Philistines envied him. And we go on to move to the word envy. And the reason I want to share about envy is because it will lead up to something about Joseph also. So in this,
True.
The Philistines envied Isaac because he was prosperous, because he was rich, because he got to be more powerful than them. And then we have the birth of what's his name? Jacob and Esau. Funny. Esau. Esau and Jacob.
What do you see?
Funny. And here we go to verses 28 and 29 of chapter 27. And this is just about the blessing.
Oh yeah. Never talking about.
Therefore God give thee of the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. So from this is a point that's apart. One is about the envy part that the Philistines had to Isaac, and the other part was about the blessing that Isaac gave to Jacob. And I connected this to Joseph because he got to be king. I was like, but wasn't it Jacob that was supposed to be like, oh, people will bow down to you? But no, it wasn't like that. It was to him. I was like, wow, because he blessed him, it passed on to his kids. And I was like, wow. And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
What?
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, 10 out of 10, man.
Go on.
So-
Your turn.
I am going to, we're gonna walk only to probably just after Joseph is born. This is Genesis 31. This is something my mom and I were talking about earlier today, like about an hour ago. So Jacob had, how many wives? He had 2 wives, right?
He had 2 wives.
He had 2 wives. He had the Rachel's older sister Leah, and technical difficulties. No, he had Rachel's older sister Leah, who he was actually finessed into marrying. That wasn't right. And then he had to stick in a field working for, what's his name?
Lebanon.
Laban, something like that. Something like that. Yeah, Laban. He had to work for Laban for another 7 years because he wanted to marry Rachel. But the reason why he had to marry why he married Leah, why he was finessed into marrying Leah, is because she was older, so she had to get married first. So he married Rachel, and he had 2 wives, and he decides to leave. Where is it? I don't know. He decided to leave basically their father's country, city, place.
You mentioned that Joseph was already born, right?
Yeah, Joseph was already born. So he decided to leave, and he leaves without telling their father. And what Rachel does is she steals her father's idols. So she steals basically his gods. And Laban comes, and he finds out that they left, and he goes after them. Man. And so this is I'm paraphrasing through 31. I'm on chapter 31, 33 and 34 right now. Rachel stole the idols. She put them in her camel saddle, because Laban went and he was like, somebody stole my stuff. I'm gonna look for it. So he went and he looked through everybody's tent, and he was looking through everything to find them. Yeah. In 32, I already disclosed that Rachel finessed the idols. I already disclosed that. In 32, Jacob says, Genesis 31, verse 32, Jacob says, "But as for your gods, see if you can find them, and let the person who has taken them die. And if you find anything else that belongs to you, identify it before all these relatives of ours, and I will give it back." But Rachel didn't know, Jacob didn't know that Rachel had stolen the household items. So he basically cursed whoever stole the items. And back in chapter 30, what's the verse? I don't remember what the verse is. The verse, this is verse 23. Talking about Rachel, she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. "God has removed my disgrace," she said, and she named him Joseph, for she said, "May the Lord add yet another son to my family." So, talking about how she wanted another kid, but Jacob basically just cursed her. So Jacob was like, but he didn't know it was her, so it's like, woo!
Wait. Go back.
Go back.
Who cursed who?
Jacob cursed Rachel without knowing he was cursing Rachel, because he says
To his father-in-law.
to his father-in-law, let anybody who would, but as for your gods, see if you can find them, and let the person who has taken them die. And Rachel was the one that took the
idols, the gods.
The idols.
So Rachel didn't have another son? Or she did?
She asked God for another son.
God was like, IG, but then Jacob said that, and he was like, IG. God was like, IG.
Alright, okay, let's discuss this more. Because I'm intrigued. So Rachel had a son.
Rachel had a son.
Joseph. And then Jacob cursed her, or it was before?
No. It was Rachel had the son Joseph, and then Jacob cursed her.
Okay.
So, Jacob had a son,
Right.
Joseph, by
Jacob had
Rachel.
11 sons.
And then when he saw Joseph, Bible says that when Joseph was born, Jacob said, "All right, it's time for us to move out of here." you know, and talked to the wives and blah blah blah, and then he started moving out. It took him a while, but then he started moving out. So Joseph was an infant. However, when Rachel had Joseph, said and called him Joseph because she said, "May God give me another son or more sons."
No, another son. May God add another son to my family.
Add another son. Okay, so they moved out. They finally got their things together. Moved out. They were walking. It took Laban 7 days to find them.
That's crazy.
Meaning they had been, and it was a lot of them. Okay, it was a number.
It was a squad.
So Laban
squad.
found out that his idols were missing, and they called them his gods, right? Were missing. So he thought that Jacob had stolen the gods. So he came to Jacob, and Jacob said, after he searched, Jacob was upset, and then Jacob said, as of your gods, whoever stole those may die.
Yeah. So.
Without knowing that it was. Oh, but wait.
Yeah, it says, but Jacob did not know that Rachel.
In parentheses, I have to say it. He loved Rachel more than all the concubines and wives that he could have had. He loved Rachel. He worked for Rachel 14 years.
Twice!
Because the first 7 years they gave him the wrong woman. I mean, not the wrong, I mean like...
They finessed him.
Yes. They gave him another woman, and he was like, the next day he was like, oh, you're not Rachel. What happened? And then she's like, well, my dad said I had to marry you because I'm not married and I'm the oldest, and tradition is that I should marry first. So he goes to Laban and he says that, oh, you gave me the other woman. I wanted Rachel. And he's like, well, yeah, but Rachel is the youngest. You have to understand. It's a tradition, so now you have to work for Rachel.
Heck.
He said, how much? He said, another 7 years. That was because of the blessing that you mentioned that came from Abraham, that was carried over to Isaac, and then it came to Jacob, because Laban liked the fact that he was being blessed by the presence of Jacob. So he mismanaged things, and he manipulated Jacob to be around for a long time. All right, time to go back to Rachel. Rachel was loved greatly by Jacob. So had Jacob known that it was her who stole the idols, he probably would not have said that. He probably would have said, all right, father-in-law, let's make a deal here. You take your gods, you take half of my
stuff.
Yeah, and go. And take Leah with you. No.
Bet.
Take half of my stuff and just go. Go and let all this be yours. But he didn't know it was Rachel. And it needed to be like that because you gotta be careful with what you say.
Heck.
When you throw out some words, you never know. You never know who they are going to impact. And time to move on.
Moral of that story. And so.
Moral of the story.
Bet. So then it says Laban went into Jacob's tent. 33. This is 31:33.
What chapter is it?
I said 31:33.
Chapters 31 and 33.
Chapter 31.
Verse 33.
Yay.
Oh, okay.
It says Laban went first into Jacob's tent to search there, and then into Leah's, and then the tents of the two servant wives, but he found nothing. Finally, he went into Rachel's tent, but Rachel had taken the household idols and hidden them in her camel saddle, and now she was sitting on them. When Laban had thoroughly searched her tent without finding them, she said to her father, "Please, sir, forgive me if I don't get up for you. I'm having my monthly period." So she was like, "Bet, this is how we're going to do it." It says, so Laban continued his search, but he could not find the household idols. So Rachel finessed. This is a family of people that know how to finesse. She got him good. She got him, and then she gonna die.
She did.
She had one more son, and we know that last son is Benjamin. That's what we know him as.
Do we have the name of Benjamin just for?
Wasn't it Benjamin or something like that?
Let's.
Where that?
I think it was 30, 20.
No. 30 was when she had Joseph.
Okay.
23. She had Joseph, and she said, "This is my son."
To Joseph, right?
Yeah.
Let's check 35:18 then.
35.
35, 18.
35-24.
Okay, read 35, 24.
Benoni,
Yeah, it's also it's your verse too. Well,
Which
yeah.
So
means
read
son
from
of sorrow.
18, 19, and 24.
Okay, Rachel was about to die, but with her last breath, she named the baby Ben-Oni, which means son of my sorrow.
You went all the way to 24.
No, I'm on 18.
Oh, okay.
The baby's father, however, called him Benjamin, which means son of my right hand. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Jacob set up a stone monument over Rachel's grave, and it can be seen there to this day. Probably to this day in the context of the actual Bible.
Sorry, sir. Benjamin, son of my right hand, right?
Yay!
But he had 2 wives.
He did.
So does that mean that no? So no more intriguing in regards to how who.
Okay, you're gonna stop with all these cliffhangers.
Yes, yes.
She's like,
All right, so we can move on to the next whatever you guys haven't planned.
Okay, so actually, I have a question. When did Jacob curse Rachel? Like,
Oh,
I want to
Lord.
know what verse. Like,
31.
Okay.
Chapter 31.
Chapter 31.
Okay.
Voice. I don't remember. Verse.
I think it was 33.
Verse. No, it was not 33.
No, okay.
It was 32. 31, 32.
With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live before our brethren. Discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. Okay, there you go. Now
Yeah.
I have peace. There.
There it is.
I have peace.
And it's clear, right? It's specific. For
Mhm.
Jacob did not know that Rachel had stopped, because had he known, this Jacob.
This Jacob
All
guy,
right, so-
man, he wild.
So that was Jacob. That was whose father?
That was Joseph's father.
Right. Joseph's dad. So Joseph was, he was one of how many kids?
12,
13.
And he was number what?
He was number 12.
11.
Oh, he was 11?
And Benjamin?
I thought Benjamin was 13.
No, he's
Oh
12.
my goodness.
Because there was the 12 patriarchs. And it says right there.
The 12 tribes.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the 11 big brothers and then Joseph and then Benjamin was number 13.
Nope.
That's what you told me all my life, Ma.
All your life, right? I'll be lying to you, daughter.
Like this whole time.
Yeah, that's why Jesus had 13 disciples, right? Okay, anyway.
Okay, you know what?
Let's go back.
I mean,
I
he
came
did,
out here-
but one of them didn't obey.
I
No,
came
he
out.
had 12.
No,
I came out here to
13.
have a
He was
good
left with
time,
11.
and I feel so
And
attacked
then
right
another
now.
one was that. Anyway, okay, no, we're not gonna get into this.
I
We're
came
not
out
gonna
here to
argue.
have a
We're
good
not gonna-
time, and I feel so attacked right now.
We're not
Like,
gonna. No, sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry for anyone who said anything or whatever that happened. Okay, we're getting back to Joseph. We went away from Joseph. Okay, we stopped walking.
Started talking about Jesus for a second.
Okay, starting to
How
walk back
was-
with Joseph.
How old was Joseph when the Bible
18.
starts telling
17.
18.
100%
he was
17.
17?
He was,
It says, and Joseph was 17 years old,
I was guessing.
and he was now. What was one of the characteristics of Joseph, or a behavior of Joseph, which nowadays
My
has
homie.
a saying, there's a saying in the world about people like Joseph.
Naive.
No.
He was nosy.
Now,
I think. Well, I wanna.
I have a confession to make. And all these characteristics that I'm naming, I'm thinking about the movie. Joseph King of Dreams.
Oh,
my dream works.
in this, actually, as I was reading, I thought Joseph as somebody that was boastful.
Oh,
that was who?
Boastful.
it was.
To me, that's how because I was reading, I was like, I mean, he told his brothers. I mean, why would he need to tell them? Why not just only tell his mom and his dad? To me, it was like absurd. I mean, his brothers knew that they were envious of him already, so he just added more to
Okay, so I will say they're
naive.
ignorant,
That ain't what I said.
immature. But
He was
then
annoying.
before that, before that, there
Oof.
was a quality, a characteristic mentioned in the word right after his age that tells you something about Joseph that really harmed
He was nosy.
his character.
He was feeding the flock. He liked to feed animals.
What chapter is this in? What chapter is this
Chapter
in?
37, verse 32.
Chapter 37, verse what?
2.
Verse 2. I skipped it. I went to 39. He often tended his father's flocks. He worked for his half-brothers, his sons, but Joseph reported his father.
He was a snitch.
And snitches get stitches.
Oh, okay.
He was a snitch.
Told
Oh.
on his brothers.
I don't know why I said that so passionately.
And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Okay.
Yeah, just reported his father
Makes
some
sense.
of the bad things his brothers were doing.
So Joseph, okay, now
I'm sorry,
do you
Joseph.
think- do you
Joseph,
think?
you've been yeeted.
Do you think Joseph knew that he was his father's favorite?
I think maybe he did. I think he did.
I mean, if he's naive, if you put it that way, if he's naive, then he didn't know. Because he was like, he's ignorant. He's like, oh, what? I was your
yeah, I
favorite
think
all
that's
this time?
true.
I didn't know.
Okay. When you
I'm
bring
with
it up to the point of him being naive, because I find it difficult. Okay, I have a confession to make.
Oh Lord.
When I was little, I was a snitch.
I was in the 3rd grade.
Actually, I was in 1st grade. I was a snitch. I told that my sisters, they got whoopings, and I got in trouble with them.
Oh.
And they remember. The oldest one remembers more than the youngest one. So, and I didn't do it with. At the time, I knew I was my aunt's favorite, but in a different, not in a malicious way. I was like, I know you love me, so I'm gonna take care of you when you're not around.
Wow.
So when my sisters did something, I came to her and I'm like, sweet aunt of mine who loves me so much, I have something to tell you.
You said those exact words?
No.
Oh.
She probably did.
No. But I
She
did
said,
think,
my mom the type of person to go, ooh, I'm telling.
I think that when I saw my aunt, I never saw it as she loves me more than she loves them, but she likes that I am so honest.
Yeah, sometimes you're a little too honest. I think you need to tone it down a bit.
Okay, so this was not the time. No. So I think that maybe Joseph saw it that way. It's like, all right, Daddy. You know, like, maybe not. I know you love me more than you love them, but maybe, like, because I know how much you love me, I'm gonna show you my love in this manner.
Right.
But you're right. Maybe
I'm a
he didn't.
snitch.
He wasn't aware of him being a favorite, because that is really harmful. As a matter of fact,
Oh Lord, here we go.
I don't know how. Give me your feedback. Tell me.
On.
Give me your thoughts on what would make him say the dream in front of everybody, not knowing the
snitch?
meaning also.
Which dream?
About the stars and the
Oh,
sun
I
and
was
the
thinking for
moon.
some reason. I was thinking about the sheep one. Sorry.
Oh, that's from Jacob.
No, that's from Joseph.
No,
Joseph had the dream about
Jacob
the-
had the sheep dreams about, making them this type of color and all this.
No. The one where the wolf killed the sheep, and it was like, oh.
The wolf killed the sheep.
Okay, well, you missed that one.
Okay. Don't worry. We'll talk about Little Red Riding Hood soon.
There were no sheep in Red Riding Hood.
But there was a wolf. Anyway.
This is moments like this where I really wish I was on The Office. Just look at the camera. Just like I was just saying something.
That's an interesting question. What would make him want to say it? No, not knowing that he's the favorite.
Probably just because of how
He is
open
already.
he was
Yeah, like you said, like, well, just like Erica was saying, like, you were too honest. Maybe, like, it just, everything that you were thinking, like, came to your mind and said, oh, I remember I had a dream, and I did this and this and this. So he had this personality.
His brothers were like,
Okay.
what?
Right, because the reaction of the brothers, and even mom and dad said it, right? Like, wait, what? What do you mean? Like, we're all supposed to bow down?
Exactly. There you go. And that was like, he was meditating on this while the brothers envied him. So he didn't know that he was the favorite at all.
Right. That makes sense.
Also, I want to back it up that not only in this, I honestly think that God made him say it for a purpose. Because later on, when he becomes king, he starts describing all of this that happened to him. And he said that I forgot all my years that I was with my father. And I forgot the sorrow, the affliction, the trouble that I went through. So it's amazing that God can put that in the heart of somebody to fulfill out his plan. Like, you know what? I'm just going to erase that part of your memory for a while, or add something that's gonna make you switch your attention and be like, focus on this now.
So I think that now you said you think that God made him say it, right?
Yeah. Or it was in his heart.
That God designed Joseph. So one thing I've never heard, I've heard of Joseph, the young man that really pleased God, and I hear the young man that conquered temptation. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even tempted by the lady.
Probably
very old.
To seduce him.
Yikes.
They tried
No,
to
thank
seduce
you.
him.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So, no, don't be sorry. Wait.
Poker party.
So we know Joseph like that, but I have never heard anyone say Joseph the prophet.
Ooh, because he did dream.
I've heard.
That was a prophecy.
I heard
That
about
was
it.
a prophecy because you have.
I've heard that. I've heard somebody say Joseph was a prophet or Joseph prophet.
Wow.
Not to be confused with the song Jonah was a prophet. Not to be confused with that song. No, like Joseph the prophet.
Tell us more.
It was probably in the movie.
Okay, then I'll just go back to what you were saying.
So hurry, back to the Bible. All right, so but that was a prophecy because in the end, and wait a second.
Standing by.
I know, right? Who was mom and dad? Leah and Jacob?
Nah, homie.
Because Rachel was dead. Remember Rachel died?
When she had Joseph?
When she had Benjamin. But then Joseph grew when he was past 17 when he told the dream.
Right.
Right. So she was dead. She was very much dead.
Very dead.
So this is how cool it is. Immediately Leah became known as the mother of all of them. Even though later on it's described now, this was the mother of this one. I mean, these were the children of this one, and Rachel had two.
Now I'm starting to think that this all plays out for good. Because if Rachel hadn't had died, then Rachel would have protected Joseph, because Rachel would have seen that his brothers were envious of him, because Rachel was also envious that Leah had kids and she didn't. So she could have seen through them and be like, hey, get away from them. They're going to do bad to you. But since that didn't happen, it's like it all worked out well.
Because women back there, I don't know if you remember Sarah, when Sarah told Abraham, all right, you gotta kick that servant out of here with her son and all.
Right.
She gotta go.
Like, first of all, girl, that
And
was your
God
idea.
had to come to Abraham and said, okay, look, Abraham, it's okay. Do what she says. I'm gonna make a great nation of Ishmael as well. So I think that if Rachel hadn't died, I don't know, she probably would have said, all right, time to divide the country. Leah, go with yours. I stay with mine. Jacob, you choose. No, I don't know. It's just
That's just our imagination going wild around here.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying the Bible says that.
But don't say that.
We're just saying.
You gotta
Don't
get
catch us in
creative.
conspiracy.
Bottom line, God created this young man who, in many ways, teaches us a lot about life, about how to
How to life.
in life,
Huh?
How to life.
how to in life.
How to life in life.
Well, makes sense, yeah. Totally.
So, right. So, and now we can talk about. We talked about the dream, right?
We talk about coat.
Did we talk about the code?
No, we didn't.
What did that code?
Symbolize
Yeah,
that he was gonna be king there.
right.
There.
Oh, but I don't think.
Apostle, I'm sorry.
Just a crack at the table.
But I don't think that was the case. Jacob. I don't think Jacob intended for that code to mean that he was going to be king.
Right.
From Jacob's point of view was, I want my son to be visual.
But I mean,
Noticeable.
he was the favorite, so he did do it for a reason. I mean, and you're right, because he could have given him anything else. He could have made him like, oh, you know, you're gonna own this territory from now on, or you're gonna do this, and like, or you're gonna rule over your brothers. Even so, that's awesome.
And what's amazing that he was already 17 years old, and he was still telling them.
He was still snitching. What kind of?
So it is. It's.
What kind of nonsense
It's
is this?
really sweet. At the same time, it turns into this kind of like a bitter taste because of what was brought onto him for being like that, for having that beautiful, honest personality. That not everybody likes that honest personality.
Nobody likes it. Well, except the person receiving the honest answer.
Right. So what else can we bring? So we mentioned the code. The code symbolized that he was gonna be king, but in those present times, it symbolized that he was just Jacob's favorite, and we gotta get rid of him.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, you are almost his age. You can get the code. We get rid of him. You get the code. Forget Benjamin. Benjamin is no threat to us.
Right. Benjamin, he fine. Benjamin fine. Benjamin, you good. You good, son.
Actually, I don't know if you noticed, but Benjamin doesn't come up in the reading a lot until
The part where they.
it says, "I have a younger brother. Bring him." And then Jacob answers. Did you get to that part to what Jacob answers when they say, "Okay, so Joseph is the new king, and I mean he's the right hand of the king," and
Well, they don't know it's Joseph.
They don't know.
They don't know.
they still didn't know it was Joseph.
No, they're like, so this on the right hand of the king.
But I
wants
read
to
it.
be
Okay,
Benjamin.
it's just that I don't remember.
It's just been a while.
No, okay, so at the time where they asked for when he asked for Benjamin, yes, Gabriel.
I think we're going a little bit too far ahead.
All right, go back.
Just saying. Erica,
Heck.
get us back on track. What's next after the cult?
That they take him and they send him as a slave to. I was gonna say to England.
I retrieve it.
All right, give it back.
Slave to England. Somebody's not in the right book.
I find it interesting that Joseph got to be a slave and that Jacob was also a slave, which is interesting.
For different reasons.
From the time from 17 to 30 years old, that's 13 years. Joseph was approximately a slave for 13 years. and
A slave?
yeah, 13 years. And Jacob was a slave for 20 years. 21. 21 years.
21.
I find it interesting. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, you can relate it to sin, but I mean, I think it was God's purpose for Joseph to be enslaved. Well, I see it this way. I put it this way. Joseph had to go through all of that so he can get to where he was at to become king. He had to go through a process, and I think it would have been made him proud, or fed his ego, if from the beginning he would have had everything, and his father would have just gave him everything, because his father was prosperous. His father had territories. His father had anything. He was probably that rich kid from the neighborhood, and be like, yo, son, you're gonna do this, and here's your car, here's your whatever, and that would have just messed it up completely. Then the whole thing with Egypt, having all that food and whatnot wouldn't have happened. So I think it's great that God uses the slavery of one person to free or to feed many other people in the long run. Even for him, it felt like an eternity, or however he felt like it. He probably felt like, oh God, I'm enslaved, but no, God made him forget about it. What do you think, Jen, Erica? Chairs next to me that are gonna be filling out soon.
I want to hear from you guys.
All right, Erica, go.
About what?
I mean, we're walking with Joseph, so after they enslave him, when does he become when does somebody put him in charge of something? And
So we're gonna go through this whole thing. We got 6 minutes. We do this real quick. Do this in 3. So Joseph is taken a prisoner because the Potiphar's wife was trying to get freaky with him, and he was like, nah, son. But then the Potiphar was like, the Potiphar's wife had framed him, and the Potiphar was like, hey, son, that don't roll with me. So we sent him to prison. And then God gave Joseph the meanings to other dreams that 2 other prisoners had. One of them was that I don't remember, was it 7 or 3 vines of grapes? I don't remember how many vines, but
3.
3. Thank you. That there were, one of them used to be the butler, and he said that there were 3 vines full of grapes, and what he did was he crushed the grapes, made them into wine, and gave them to the Pharaoh. And Joseph interpreted this dream as, this means that in 3 days they're gonna come back, they're gonna come get you, you're gonna be a butler again, you're gonna have your job restored. Whereas the baker, who was the other guy that was with him, was like, hey man, so in my dream I have 3 baskets full of bread, and the baskets fall, and then I go to pick them up, and then all these birds come and they try to peck my face out. And Joseph was like, in 3 days he'll kill you, son. And then what Joseph had prophesied had come to pass. And then Joseph tells the butler, don't forget me, don't forget me when you get out there, just don't forget me. So sometime later, the Pharaoh has a dream. He has 2 dreams, and one of them is I will get to those in a little bit. But the butler, he couldn't figure out what they meant, so the butler was like, bet, I know somebody. So they go and they get Joseph, and they, okay, tell me what the dreams mean. And the Pharaoh says, okay, so my first dream is that there's 7 fat cows, and then 7 real skinny cows go on. They eat them, and they don't really change shape. They eat the fat cows, and that's it. And then he says he wakes up, he has the second dream, and the second dream is that it was 7 healthy
vines,
of wheat, and then 7 not so healthy ones, and they devour the 7 healthy ones. And then Joseph interprets this as oh, they were my 3 minutes. Joseph interprets this as there's gonna be 7 years of like a bumper crop, and prosperity. What he said. Gabriel's really good at finishing my sentences. The 7 not so good cows or the 7 not so good vines of wheat were going to be 7 years of famine, and they had to stock up, and because of that, the Pharaoh promoted him as second in command. That's it. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna say bye to Joseph because he was a great.
It's a great topic, man.
Yeah.
And I think we're so excited because it's not Romans. Finally, it's not Romans.
Yeah, only next week we're gonna
talk about Romans 16.
Next week we're gonna talk about how we can relate with Joseph.
How we can relate with Joseph? In
Joseph.
what way?
All his stories.
All of it?
Yeah.
Just how
all of it.
In general.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Yeah!
Okay, so we're going to
Good night.
continue to read about Joseph, but this time we're going to apply it to our lives. And I shall not speak a lot. And
we all know that ain't going to happen.
Hold her accountable to that.
Yes, message. If you hear me talking a lot, message and remind me. You said you were not going to talk a lot. I want mine. Yeah, I'll actually feel happy that you were in this program and then you're in the next week's program. All right, so words of encouragement, Gabriel.
Be sad always and always cry and always be I'm kidding. Don't
Literally
do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Life is really too short to be sad always. What can I say? I already did. What can I say? Oh, don't do that. I watched Moana so many times with my baby brother.
It's me at Coco.
Okay, I'm sorry. Have a great week. Tune in next week with us and be blessed and read with us. I invite you to read with us because I know that we're the ones doing the research and all that. But if you can read along with us, that'd be great as well. So, if we say any mismatch information, you can be like, hey, that was wrong. And we're like, thank you.
All right, so I really hope you continue to have a wonderful week, a blessed week. I hope you tune in again next week. Remember, we are trying to edify one another, and these 2 persons are here to learn, but also to expose what they are learning. And it's not just about attaining knowledge, but also about applying it to our own life. So let's continue sharing. And
it's also about getting good grades and passing the test that Ms. De Jesus puts us through.
Oh, okay. I was not expecting that one.
Unless you're her child.
Okay.
Then the test is harder.
So we love you. Remember, Jesus gave his life for you, and that is only because he thinks you're very special, because he loves you. He knows you're very special. Actually, he made you special, and he loves you very much. Erica, take it away.
Copyrighted phrases. Always wear your seatbelt. Thank you.
Why are you yelling?
Because I had to make sure they got the message across. Always wear your seatbelt.
That's how a cop says it too. Put your hands up. He doesn't say, hey, can you please put your hands down? Can
they
you
actually
please?
do. They go,